welcome. Thank you all for coming, and we certainly appreciate you being a part of our Fall Media Day for all of our other teams as well. I don't know if this day could have come soon enough. You know, we're anxious to get the first competition underway, and the energy and the excitement of going to different preseason practices, whether it's football or volleyball or soccer, and it gets you really excited about the upcoming season. And I know that our teams across the board are working incredibly hard and very focused on, you know, being more competitive and really looking forward to their upcoming season. So I appreciate you covering, you know, our 19 teams, and the importance of them being competitive across the board is part of our message about the importance of comprehensive excellence at Pitt. Every one of our teams matter, and everyone in this athletic department plays a role in their success. So it's not just about our head coaches and our student athletes, it's about, you know, our marketing team and our development staff and our strength conditioning coaches that all have a direct impact on the success of our student athletes. So certainly excited about the upcoming season, and welcome any questions that you may have.
There's a difficult to try to keep up with some of the ACC programs and other sports because they've been at it a little longer than maybe we have certain sports.
You know,
as far as success is concerned,
they haven't been at it, but yeah, they have had more sustained long-term success than us. I don't think it's difficult. I think it's a matter of focusing on it and determining what our teams need in order to be successful. Again, it is not all about the head coach and the student athletes. There's a lot that has to do with the entire support system behind our programs. And it's a matter of people, it's a matter of facilities, it's a matter of a commitment to being good across the board. And so those are some of the things that we're spending time dissecting and trying to figure out how to enhance their level of competitiveness and what they need to be more successful.
Is it still early in the process in terms of assessing facilities on campus? I know you said that you guys were, you know, re-engaging the firm that you guys worked with previously.
Yes, we are, and you know, we are in the middle of that process right now, and there's a very clear vision on where we need to improve from a facility standpoint for those particular teams. 16 of our 19 teams train, compete, and work out up on the Hill, and that's 84% of our student athletes. So there's a significant number of kids that work out in facilities that are not as competitive and up to maybe ACC level standards as they could be. And so that'll be a big focus and a primary focus for us as we move forward. And the opportunity to work collaboratively with campus is something that's been really enlightening and very helpful, because you can't do it alone, and you've got to have a shared vision with our university, and certainly the chancellor and our team, you know, the senior leadership team, are working very collaboratively on that vision.
You were talking there, Heather, about that idea of comprehensive excellence. You know, and when you look at some of the sports beyond football and men's and women's basketball, there have been some teams and programs that since the move to the ACC can have been struggling, quite a bit, big step up in competition. You know, there's some sort of built-in disadvantages. What do you feel like are some tangible steps that can be taken to improve the quality of those programs that have maybe flattered a little bit in the past few years, or have even for longer than that?
You know, I think that we're headed in the right direction, which it starts with assessing and building relationships with your coaching staff and knowing what they want and need to be successful, to be more successful. And so we're undergoing that process right now and trying to identify, you know, specific areas of improvement. We, you know, for example, we hired a new head of strength conditioning for that whole group of student athletes. That could, you know, a person named Tyler Carpenter, who is a dynamic leader, and I think will make a direct impact on the strength conditioning, the performance of many of those teams, and the team that he's building within that organization and the style. So there are steps that you can take. You know, I think a lot of the coaches have great aspirations, and are very focused on improving the program. Again, you've got to do it progressively. You know, there's not a quick fix. It's recruiting the right students to Pitt and the kids that want to win championships. You know, one of our core values and bridges that, you know, we haven't talked a whole lot about yet publicly, but one of our core values is champions live here. You know, this is the city of champions, and it's not the city of professional champions, it's the city of champions. So it starts with a belief system that if you come to Pitt, you want to win a championship. You know, you want to win ACC championships, you want to compete for national championships. So if that's not why you're here, from a competitive standpoint, certainly there's academic and personal and social development opportunities, but from an athletic standpoint, if you're not here to win a championship, you're probably not in the right place. So champions live here is what, you know, one of our themes that we're going to talk more at length about with our staff, with our coaches, and certainly with our student athletes. But that's critical to establish a belief system, and you got to believe that you can win before it's actually going to happen. And so I feel very good about the coaches wanting it to happen, believing that it can happen, and then we've got to help them identify the steps to help that make that happen.
What were some of the biggest concerns your coaches had when you first met them, when you got the coaches of these other sports, when you first met them when you got here in the spring?
I guess overall themes are probably, you know, from a facility standpoint, there are some deficiencies, there's some gaps in, you know, either just the ability to enhance our facilities. Is that it's more of an opportunity than a concern. You know, I think that there's a way to do it. You just have to have a vision and get people engaged and excited about doing it, and then work with your campus to make it happen. So I think of it as an opportunity more than, you know, real challenges that they felt that, you know, these are insurmountable things as to why you can't do it. It's all about how can you do it.
As you know, as a part of the strategic plan that Scott Barnes had put together in his time here, you know, there was one part where he had talked about, I forgot what year it was, it might have been 2019 or 2020, about every program being in the top 10% or top 15% of the Directors' Cup standings. Mm-hmm. Is that a sort of standard that you're maybe looking to kind of push forward with or try to uphold, or do you have some different goals and different ways of trying to go about that?
Well, our staff and our team has focused, you know, we've created a mission, which is kind of our script. We've created some core values, which are our bridges, and then we've created a game plan. And our game plan is focused on this upcoming academic year. You certainly can have 3 and 5 year plans, but the landscape changes and things change. So we've taken a look at what can we do this coming academic year to improve our overall competitiveness from a Directors' Cup standpoint. And, you know, we have set some goals, and, you know, we will work hard to obtain those and work hard to make everyone and every Pitt fan proud and every Pitt alum proud. But so I'm not familiar. I mean, I'm familiar. Yeah. I read the other plan, but we have kind of redesigned and tweaked it to make it, you know, I think it's good to have an annual, very quantifiable, very objective plan for all of our team to be kind of singing from the same game plan.
What are some of the other ways you guys have kind of tweaked that overall plan, maybe in some different areas beyond the question I'd asked earlier?
Yeah, again, I think there's, I don't know how that one was developed, but I'll tell you how this one was developed. You know, our game plan is developed with our senior leadership team, and they ultimately went to their staff and said, okay, what are the quantifiable goals and objectives we want to achieve this coming year? And so we compiled those into, you know, 3 areas, either, you know, building champions and building leaders. And so, you know, they fit into areas that are very distinct. And again, it's a document, and it's a 1-page, everything's on 1 page. You know, it's not a coffee table book that looks good, but you don't utilize it. It's a tool, and it's a resource that we will, our leadership team will address probably quarterly at the very least. And some of our staff, I've heard, you know, are talking about it in their staff meetings every other week. Because it's, again, a quantifiable document, and say, okay, how are we coming on these particular goals? Where are we in the process? So, but it is at least on a quarterly basis throughout the year, we will take a look at our game plan, see what we're doing, see what we've accomplished, see what roadblocks we're hitting, help one another accomplish the goals that we've all set out. But people are very familiar with it on our leadership team, and it's a really good guiding tool for us this coming year, I think.
For so many things in college athletics, when you're trying to build up a team, I think a lot of people would say, well, if I had more fans and we had more people in the seats and we had more donors, then I could do a lot of things and we'd have a lot better team. But a lot of times it's hard to get those things without the better team. It becomes like a chicken and an egg game. What are some of the things that you can do as an athletic director to build enthusiasm for these smaller programs and regardless of the fact that they haven't had a lot of success?
Yeah, it is a chicken and an egg. But I do think that successful programs and people that get to know, I think we have to humanize our coaches and our student athletes. People want to know who they are. You typically go to a game because you're connected to somebody at part of the program. You either know the coach or you read about them and they're interesting and inspiring to you. Or you just have a real strong affinity for the sport, and then you get to know our student athletes. And once you get to know the quality of the kids that we have in our program, I've been really incredibly impressed. So I think that that's one way, first of all, telling the story, and that's what you all are doing, which we certainly appreciate, because it allows people the opportunity to get to know who is competing at Pitt, who is the star on the volleyball program or the men's soccer team or the wrestling team this winter. And so there's a way that gets people excited. We're going to unveil something to our student athletes next Monday night, I think it is, when we have our all student athlete meeting, something called Panthers Unite. And it'll be for our staff and our student athletes. So every head coach went through and designated a game on their schedule that is their Panthers Unite game. And that's a game that we're going to encourage all staff and all student athletes to go. I can't expect everybody to go to every single, volleyball game this fall or every single soccer game. But if there's one game in general that is going to be a difference maker and how we can help that team, maybe overcome, a crowd advantage or that sort of thing. So, we're going to encourage everybody to come to that Panthers Unite game, and you'll see the shirts that the kids are wearing with the schedule of the games on the back of them that will outline where we want them to be and when. But, having a sense of support across our 19 teams, building a culture where it's not just one program being good, but success breeds success. It becomes infectious, it's contagious. And so as one team improves, I think it helps raise the standard across the board, especially when you try to create a united environment. And that's what we're going to try to do with the Panthers Unite concept.
How big of an addition is, the ACC network launching in 2019, how big is that going to be in terms of just bringing in additional revenue to be able to accomplish all that you want to accomplish as an athletic director?
Yeah, the ACC network is going to be a new source of revenue, which will certainly enhance our overall student athlete experience and allow us to invest in some priorities and needs that will be new and opportunistic. And it creates just tremendous exposure for our campus, for our university, for all the teams competing, for student athletes and Pitt fans to see our teams competing across the country or around the world. They can do it online now, but on a real platform, I think it's going to really make a significant difference in the overall exposure of our campus and of our teams and of the Pitt brand.
With the ACC network, Heather, what are some of the infrastructural steps Pitt's taken to kind of prepare itself for when it does launch?
Yeah, the ACC network is a big undertaking. We have a university-wide committee that's working together and collaboratively across campus because it involves a lot of different elements and aspects. So we have definitely begun. We're far along in the planning process. We have designated sort of back-of-house space and what the infrastructure needs to be in order for us to get a network studio up and running. There's personnel expenses, there's infrastructure, there's obviously equipment, and we're working very diligently to identify the best ways to go about launching our studio and our network area and space here at Pitt. We've benchmarked with a lot of other schools in the country that have their own setup, and some within our conference that are already, very, a little bit more further along on the way than we are. But I would say that we are making great progress with where we need to be. Really, by the next fall, we need to be prepared and ready to go. Obviously, it won't go live until the fall of 19, but we'll be up and running and ready to go in the fall of 18. So it should be exciting.
When it comes to football, I mean, what's it been like? I know it hasn't been long since the deal was announced, but working with tailgate guys, I mean, there's probably not a whole lot you could do for 2017, but for the future, I mean, what's that process been like for football?
Tailgate guys is an excellent opportunity, I think, for our fans to experience a new pre-game game day experience. It's convenient. It's very available for our fans to be able to come down to Heinz Field. There's a designated space on the Great Lawn, and to have Pitt branded tents all across that area where people can come and they connect with tailgate guys. And basically how it is it's a tailgate service for you, and you can say, I'm going to have 10 people, I'm going to have 50 people, I'm going to have 100 people at my tailgate, and I would like these amenities: a tent, tables, chairs, televisions, coolers, food. I mean, it's sort of a menu option, and there'll be a Pitt package that they're developing. The sales are going extremely well. I mean, I think it will catch on. I think it will be a neat place to come. I think it's very convenient for our fans. You don't have to move your kitchen downtown to Heinz Field. You basically show up and you have a designated place, and hopefully I think it'll create an exciting game day, pre-game atmosphere for people to come and enjoy and spend the day.
How were season ticket renewals for football from last year to this year?
I haven't gotten a specific update, but I know that I just got out of a budget meeting and things are running on target with what we have projected financially. So that's great. I want to thank all of our loyal Pitt fans and season ticket holders, and I just would say that everybody I have met is excited about the upcoming season, and people are incredibly loyal and proud to be. I've been a season ticket holder, Heather, for the last X number of years, and those are great conversations to have, and we certainly appreciate their support, and I know our football team does too. Packing Heinz Field, making that an electric game day experience is critical to our success. And so we encourage you to come out, bring your family, bring your friends, and hopefully enjoy the experience of football at the highest level.
In your first 5 months here on the job, Heather, has there been, or I guess what's maybe surprised you the most? What's, what expectations that you had going into it have maybe proven to be different or wrong? Has there been anything that's kind of, has there been anything that I guess that surprised you about the job 5 months into it being here?
What is surprising? I didn't know I would meet people who were so passionate. I mean, I knew I'd meet people who were passionate about Pittsburgh, right? And there's not a lot. I mean, there's a lot to love about this city. I think it has everything that a big city has and wants, except for the fact that it has a lot of warm, welcoming people that sometimes you don't get in a really large city. And so I've been pleasantly surprised at the fact that the city is incredibly welcoming. But I think I've been surprised at the number of Pitt alums that you meet and you get a chance to meet. And whether I was downtown at a bocce tournament last weekend, and people just coming up to me, oh, I've been a Pitt fan, oh, I played tennis there, oh, I ran track there. I mean, there's just a lot of passion and pride in the University of Pittsburgh within the city. And so I don't know that I'm surprised about that, but it's been very an outward expression of it, and it's been very warm and welcoming. So been pleasantly surprised at that piece.
Yeah, I guess aside from the general enthusiasm, when you speak with fans, when you speak with these kind of people who've been, as you said, season ticket holders since God knows when, what's been the general tenor of those kind of conversations? What do they sort of want to express to you? What any concerns, anything that okay, you really need to do this or try to get this done?
I think the general concerns would be, we want you to stay, and I think that there's that feeling of, and I recognize that there has been transition, but I want people to realize that this is an athletic department where the culture of being the best that you can possibly be and going and competing for ACC and national championships is attainable at Pitt. So this is not a stepping stone. It can be and should be a destination place for our coaches, for our staff, for our student athletes to our staff to grow and develop. We want them to know that their aspirations of what they want to achieve can happen here at Pitt. So that's probably been the biggest concern that people say, keeping your coaches. And I see that as a priority and also an incredible opportunity to do that.
Anything else?